Coming up next, it's a pup named Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Batman Tebra and Tebold on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Yoda on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Chowder on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Courage of the Jungle on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Ben 10 Alien Force on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Rick Lito on Cartoon Network, man.
Coming up next, it's Ben 10.
Coming up next, it's Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Battle Dimension on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Kamalaza on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Elect Battles on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Eddie on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Foster Movie desde Nadina Pin on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, Buster's Mounting House of Blues on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Buster's Home for Imaginary Friends on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Goosebumps.
Coming up next, it's Hot Wheels Battle Force 5 on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Johnny Test, Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Crud, the Super Dog on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Matcha on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, Pokemon Boogie and the Rise of Dark Ray, Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Star Wars, The Clone Wars on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doozery in Night on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo Go on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders on Cartoon Network.
Up next, it's Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo Pirates Ahoy on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo Where Are You on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Stealth on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Teen Titans on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's the Mr. Ming Show on Cartoon Network.
Up next, it's The Powerpuff Girls on Cartoon Network.
Up next, it's the Superhero Swing Show on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Tom and Jerry on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Total Drama's Land on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Total Drama Action on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's What's New Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's the Team Puppet Network.
Coming up next, it's Back Again Battle Brawlers on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Ben 10 Ultimate Alien on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Codename Kids Next Door on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, Tenere Rex on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Mike and Partners and Monty on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Puffman on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's Garfield on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, it's the Beasties on Cartoon Network.